Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Peace and Plenty Farms. This is Daniel. Going to do a quick opening video for today and do a little rant on working on these old piece of junk cars that I've got. I've got them all from the junkyard, or someone gave them to me, or paid less than $100 for them, and I'm always working on them. So on the Toyota right here, this morning I need to put a ball joint in that. Luckily it's a bolt-in ball joint. So I should, if it's been changed before, I should be able just to unbolt it and put another one in, bolt it down. It shouldn't be any problem. Let me turn the camera around. I want to show you this right here. Now this is the Ranger, the 86 Ranger, and I just had the transmission rebuilt, and I got it back here on Tuesday, and I installed the transmission, and I got it all installed, and I went to put the nuts on the torque converter, and there was a little plastic cover protecting the threads of the torque converter. So I had to take the transmission back out by myself down here on this wooden plywood floor, gravel floor, piece of plywood laying on it. Took the transmission back out and pulled the pieces of plastic that were protecting the threads of the torque converter. But when I went to put it back in, the torque converter had come loose from the transmission. It was misaligned. So I really struggled trying to get that transmission back in until I realized it was the torque converter. So I had to take the transmission back out, realign the torque converter, then get the transmission in, and was able to get it all hooked up and everything, and all the cross member and the linkage, everything back together. And the truck was turning over. You could climb in there and turn the key and it would turn over, but it wouldn't start. So I put a little bit of fuel right into the throttle body, and it started right up, ran for a minute. Obviously there was a fuel problem. And I just couldn't believe that it was the fuel pump, because of the coincidence of putting the transmission in, because I drove the truck in here, put the transmission in, and the fuel pump goes bad. What are the odds of that at the same time? It just seemed electrical to me. Something was unplugged, something was unhooked. So I checked all the fuses, I changed the relay, still nothing. So process of elimination, I just went ahead and put a new fuel pump in. This is the old pump right here, and I ran down there and got the pump, and the new one had this end on it, but mine was this end, and completely different size. This one here is extra large. This one here is kind of small, and the threads were different, male, female. So I was really struggling with that, and I put everything in this box. I was headed back down to the parts store, and I grabbed the box to take with me, and I found the parts in the bottom of that to convert the new fuel pump. This Ford fuel pump was used on many Fords, so it's very common. They just changed the different connectors out. So I found the parts. I was able to put the fuel pump in, get that done, put the regulator in, and go to start the truck, and it will not start. You can turn the key to the on position and listen for the fuel pump and hear it running, building pressure. You should be able to, but of course I couldn't hear it. Couldn't hear the fuel pump turning on. Couldn't hear anything. So I knew I was correct. There was some sort of electrical problem. So then I had to trace it out. I said, I'm going to have to trace this thing out to find out where or what. There's a fuse or something going on here. So here's the wire coming up from the fuel pump. Went right through this, and it changed color. Of course, it changes color every time it goes through a connector or a fuse or anything. And what got me was, and the guy at the Jeff at the Ladysmith Auto Parts is always telling me that these things are not built to work on, and it's true. Here's a prime example. you take the color of this. Now, there's all kinds of colors: yellow with red stripe, blue with a white stripe, you know, pink with a polka dotted stripe, and that's how you tell the difference. And you can follow them out and trace them out. And then the schematics, if you get the book, you know, it'll tell you what color, what wire is doing what. I don't have the book, so I started tracing this out. The problem is, if this wire has been exposed to the elements, no cover over it, it has changed color. And when I took the electrical tape off of it, it was a different color under the electrical tape. And then if I took the shielding off of it, it was a different color under that same wire. So I couldn't just take this end of the harness apart and take that end of the harness apart and make sure that I had the exact right color. I had to take the harness and undo it all the way through under the throttle body injector manifold there, disassemble the harness and take all of the coating off of it, whether it was the loom or the electrical. Now I'm going to spin around here. So you can see that I've got everything exposed, and I traced the wire all the way through. And I found that the wire, here it is right here. Now these were two wires that were heading down through the firewall, and they went under the firewall right there and came inside here. Well, there's not going to be much light, but I'm just going to point to what's going on here. Here are the two wires right here coming from the fuel pump, right here, and then going back right here. And this was mounted under this. I'm gonna back up, see if you can see it. Well, I'm underneath, I'm in the floorboard. Sorry about the light. But underneath the mat, let's back up a little bit. Underneath the mat, there's the dashboard, the seat. Underneath the mat, right there, was a black little tiny box. And that little box, I may have to show it to you in the next video because it's laying around here somewhere, was some type of a switch, a safety switch for the fuel. So if you're in an accident, the fuel pump will be turned off. So if the key is still on, it won't keep pumping fuel. Well, I guess when I was putting the transmission in and out so many times, struggling with the torque converter, I guess it banged against the firewall just enough to break that switch so that the fuel pump wouldn't run. It's hard to believe, but I guess in and out, I didn't think I was pushing on it that hard, you know, just I do just a small wiggle, just a small push. I didn't force anything because there's no sense in forcing it. If you're forcing it, you're breaking something. It should gently go. If you need to wiggle it. So that's what I was doing, wiggling, gently pushing, gently lifting. There was no extreme pressure, but it triggered that switch to go bad. So what I did is, here it is coming from the fuel pump. Here it is going to the regulator. I just cut it out and just spliced it together. So then I had everything working like it's supposed to. I just need to put all of this back now. So the fuel pump is working. So I got the fuel pump working. And then all along, as I'm trying the ignition and trying the key and trying to start it, the park neutral inhibitor switch seemed to be giving me trouble. Now, it was giving me trouble before I had the transmission rebuilt, but I thought the inhibitor neutral switch was in the selector. So on the floor right there, most cars, older cars, have the neutral safety switches right there. So I took the cover off, and there's nothing there. There's no neutral, there's no wiring or anything. You can see how novice I am. You mechanics that are out there are going to think, man, this guy doesn't know nothing. I'm the basic old school. I mean, I worked on 65 Mustangs and 68 Camaros and things like that, and they didn't have all of this, you know, all these problems. So I had a little bit of trouble with the neutral switch before the transmission was rebuilt, because I would have to sometimes wiggle the shifter and put it in neutral in order to get it to start. So it started doing the same thing again. Like I said, I thought it was in the console right there. So took it all apart. No, it traced out went underneath, looked at the transmission, and there was a set of wires that plugged into the transmission, and of course, and the guys had spray painted the transmission when they gave it back to me, and there was paint all over that plug, the part of the transmission that was hooked to the transmission. So I did a YouTube video, did a search, come to find out that is the neutral inhibitor switch for the safety to make sure you're either in park or neutral. If you're in neutral, you have to have your foot on the brake in order to start the vehicle. So if your switch goes bad and you're in park, just put your foot on the brake, put the selector in neutral, and then the vehicle will start, which is what I was doing when I was struggling with the fuel pump. So I figured, I called the transmission place real quick, and I asked them, I said, did you replace the neutral safety switch? I'm thinking a $5, $10 part. Certainly they replaced it. No, they did not. They did not replace it, which I figured, because it was doing exactly what it was doing before the rebuild, after the rebuild doing the same thing and worse, and then all of a sudden nothing. So I called Jeff down at Lady Smith Auto Parts, and he has one on order for me. So the plan for today, and I know I'm telling this story and it just sounds like, okay, on to the next one. That was frustrating. That was very, very frustrating to spend $1,300 on this transmission. And I kind of knew with this Ford I was taking a risk, and I was scared the whole time, you know, that I've spent this money, and now here I am tearing the electrical apart. I'm trying to fix the fuel pump, trying to fix the transmission, you know, which can be insurmountable, you know, task for a guy like me, because I'm not that skilled at these electrical mechanical problems. But somehow or another I got my blood pressure up and down yesterday, and I've got the fuel pump working, and I just pray that that part, when it comes in, that will solve the problem with this Ranger, and I will be able to put this back on the road. So that is, my fingers are super crossed, and prayers go up that this thing is fixed with the neutral safety switch here a little later on today. So like I said, I've got the ball joint, the upper ball joint on the T100. I am going to jump on that, something like fierce, and get that done. I've got the weed eater right here. I've got to finish up a little tiny bit of weed eating down by the pond, get the neutral selector switch, and see how the day goes. So like I've said before many times, I really appreciate your like, share, comment, and come grow with us. And I say come grow with us because I'm learning. You know, look at what I've learned on this Toyota truck, tracing these wires out. You know, wires that are changing color because of the different environment that they might be in. And so you have to actually pull on each wire and trace it out. That's the way to do it. And I've done the transmission and the fuel pump like that. Well, let's get it going, and hope for a blessed day. And like I've said, come grow with us. Well, I thought I'd do a little bit of filming of the free-range chickens and rabbits that we have around here. Let's see who all is out that's maybe not supposed to be out. These are the black Morans up here. Ooh, the sun is... Good evening, everybody. This is Daniel. Thought I'd do a little quick video of the free-range chickens. That's moon pie in the background, making that goat noise. And up right there, that's the black Morans. We have a rooster and a hen. She should start laying pretty soon. We're hoping that she'll brood those and hatch, and we'll grow that brand. Got a couple of rabbits hiding under here. Let's see if we can find some more rabbits around here. Head back towards the... Let me show you this black Moran. He is getting huge. He's a good sized chicken. These are the copper Morans over here. That's Sophie right there. She doesn't make too much noise. Let's go around here and see Moon Pie. He's the one making all the noise. There he is. He knows that food is in that can and he's ready. Always wants that sweet feed. Let me throw a little feed to him and we'll come back and check on. Well, maybe we'll walk over to the rabbits. It's hot. They're panting. Really hot. Now this right here is the broody coop. We use this to brood, put the brooders in here. It's really nice because it's got good ventilation. It's well secure. It's super secure because I've got the bottom of it with the wire going completely underneath of it and coming out. And I can close them off when they're brooding the eggs. I can close this door right here and they can just stay in this area right in here and the little chicks don't get trampled. And then when they get old enough, I can just open that door and let them enjoy the bottom area down here. So this works out great for a broody coop. And we've got, well, I was going to show you a couple of brooders, but I see one of them has given up. Let's go in here and see what's going on. The silkies are brooding some eggs right now. I know, you want to be fed, don't you? Can't turn my back for 1 minute on you. Well, these guys were. Let's look and see. I know. All upset. Let's see if there's any broodies in here. No, just the eggs. I don't know if they've given up or what, but they were brooding those. Maybe they're just taking a break. We'll see. We'll move them over there to the other coop and see if they'll brood those. Thanks for watching. Alrighty, Friday late, a wrap-up video. I normally like to do one video per day, start a project in the morning and videotape it going along during the day, and then have a daily video. But the last 2 weeks have been one video per week, and this week it was this Ranger truck. I started on it on Tuesday, putting the transmission in, and you heard about the torque converter problems and the fuel pump problems. This was the piece that was mounted to the firewall floorboard halfway in between, and it must have gone bad when I was putting the transmission in, and I bypassed it. I showed you the two wires that I spliced together back here so that we could just bypass it. Let's see if I can. I showed you the little yellow. There it is right there. Just bypassed it for now. Just an old farm truck for around town. And so we got the fuel pump working. Then immediately after that, the engine wouldn't start. And I thought it was the neutral safety inhibitor switch. And I told you the story about how I called them and they hadn't changed it. And Jeff got me a new one. I put it in, still wouldn't start. So then I had my sweet wife climb in there. She spent about an hour sitting in this truck wiggling the shifter back and forth for me. Let me climb underneath here and let me show you what happened, why it wouldn't start. I'm going to shine this light on here, and you can see. I'm going to switch around and hold my other hand. You can see this piece right here. This is the arm. Move the light around. There we go. This is the arm right here coming down, and it was mounted on here, and it was, I think it must have been welded or tack welded on there, but I pried it off, and it's perfectly round, and what it attaches to is perfectly round. So when I was shifting gears, pulling the shifter, it was just sliding. It was just sliding and turning on that. And you can see my jimmied up welding, because I had to use my really small welder because the power down here isn't strong enough for the big welder. But I did get a couple of good spots of weld on there and grinded it back down. It looks like heck, but because the transmission was in reverse, it wouldn't start. The neutral safety switch was telling the electrical system that you're in reverse or in drive. And so once I figured out that I needed to get this into park, the truck started no problem, started right up. And now I've got it welded on there, and it shifts through the gears no problem. And this is this moves freely for the kick down from the engine. So that's what was going on with that. And thankfully I was able to figure it out, because I was really surprised when I put that neutral safety switch in that I was still having trouble. So we got past that. The Ranger's done. I haven't taped up the electrical system yet. I'm going to tape the harness back up, and I'm going to get some extra large loom to go around this. The other loom that was on there was kind of dry rotted, and when I was pulling it off, it was just breaking into a million pieces. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start at this end and put the loom on, and then I'm going to feed it through all the way up to here. I'm going to electric tape it together first, then slide the loom back on there, and that'll take care of that. I've got the air filter back on, so that takes care of all of that. The ball joint on the Toyota, boy, I tell you, that was no problem. I think I did that, I'm sure, in less than 30 minutes. Jacked it up, changed the ball joint, no problem. Today, I also did the work on the K30. I took the grill off. It needs a little bit of patching, so it's still laying over there. Took the grill off and tightened up the headlights. They needed tightening and adjusting, and some pieces and parts were missing there. And I got the turn signals, the high beam, low beam, all of that working. Got the tags on, got the horn working, got the wipers working. I've got new wipers. I picked them up today. I just need to put those on. I got the hood to where it'll close. It wouldn't close before. I still haven't done the mirrors. I want to do the mirrors. I need to do an adjustment on this cable right here. You have to fully pull that PTO and this cable to get it to engage and start going. So I need to do a little tiny bit of adjustment there. I got the muffler on. I got the lights working back here, all the lights. The trailer light hookup right here is an obsolete, no good piece, but I have a brand new one in there. That's on my to-do list, is to put the trailer lights on this. But all the drive lights, turn signals, got the hitch on, that's all done. Everything is done on this. The windows don't roll up, so I'm gonna have to keep it covered up. The windows, I need to do some work on that, get them going. The air filter still isn't on, but the carburetor is brand new, but whenever I go to start this truck, I have to put a little bit of gas in it. And I don't know why the gasoline drains out of that carburetor, but maybe we'll tackle that another day. So that's all done. I feel confident to drive this to the lumber yard, to the gravel yard, to the mulch place, all that. Don't know if I'm quite ready to drive a load of that trash. I've been talking about it in my videos. That pile of trash is getting huge, and I need to take a load to the dump bad. Two trips. So that's going to be really soon. I'm going to wait till the weather cools down, so that if I break down on the side of the road, it's not 100 degrees on the side of the road while I'm working on that. So another week or two on that. The next projects that I need to get done is something is happened to this sickle mower. Something inside there. I got to take the cover off. It's wobbling and shaking. Hopefully it's an easy fix, because I use this to sickle mow and rake up fresh grass for the rabbits. So I need to get that going. The next project is this Ford tractor. Let me take you around here and show you this. Now, the sickle mower is a rainy day thing. I'll work on that on a rainy day. This Ford, and you all can put it in the comments what you think. Now, I've had this head off of here for over 2 years. Now, I've got the cylinders all greased up, heavy grease on the cylinders. But this thing was backfiring something fierce. I thought maybe it was the head gasket. So this is a project. Here's the air filters for the K30. This is the next, I guess, rainy day project, is to get the head on, put the head back on. If I could just get the head on and get it sealed up and torqued down, then I could kind of drag along putting the rest of it together. I'm probably just going to get this started and sold or pushed out of here, put somewhere else. I don't really need it. I need a bigger tractor. I need to get that one sold, get it out of here. And the other thing I want to do is we're going to do a major cleanup and clear out. All of this is going. If I don't use it, it's out of here. I'm done storing stuff. All of this is gone. The other side of the building is the same way. I'm going to get rid of all of that. And the last thing that I'm going to be tinkering with on rainy days is this Cub Cadet right here. It's manual. I'm going to put a creeper gear in it, and I would really like to put hydraulics, if it's possible, to put hydraulics on this and a creeper gear. That's what I'm going to try to build with this one. That's a back burner project. The Jasper 454 that I've got sitting over here, this 3500, This is going to go really far back on the burn pile. It should go on the burn pile, on the back burner. 454. It's just a fun little toy project that I've got, and I'm going to get it out of here. I would like to just have the space so I can pull other vehicles in here, and I'm gonna get this cab off, and I'm gonna get the frame powder coated, and kind of monkey around with this in my spare time, but it's gonna have to get out of here. I'm actually thinking of building a quick carriage house type building that I can just pull these vehicles into, be on top of the hill. But we're going to get quite a few other projects done before we start that. I want to thank everybody for watching, and keep in mind that it's about the harvest. Thank you.